If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson cries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson. Hello, everyone. I'm Keith Casebolt. It's good to be with good friends, and this is my good friend, Gary C. Johnson.
Isn't it wonderful? My goodness, folks, we made it another whole week without the first fight. Ooh, did I just step on a toe? I want to talk to you about something. One of my friends that watches the show, who also happened to be a client, I was talking to them a few days ago. And they said, you know, I just worry all the time. And I looked over at him, I said, you just told me you watched the show. And now you're telling me you worry all the time. I said, how's that possible? She said, I just don't know. So what I'm telling you, my friends, is, and I gave her a very stern lecture, by the way, about how she should never worry about things that she can't control. And then I asked her, I said, how many things would you be worrying about that you can't, if you could control them? And she says, well, there's none of the stuff I worry about I can control. But she said, I just worry and worry and worry. And I said, please don't do that to yourself. And I'm saying to you folks, if you're doing that, don't do it to yourselves. Please don't do that to yourself. If you can control it and change it, worry about it. If you can't, put it out of your mind. You are wasting your dash. You're wasting your happiness, and you're inviting misery with a wide open door to take over your life. Don't do it. And it's hard. It's hard to not want to worry about what's happening in the world and all of this crazy stuff on television and all of this. It's hard to not say, well, I'm going to worry about this. What if? You can't change it. And if the TV is making you worry, turn it off. Turn it off.
Or turn the channel to a show that doesn't make you worry. Yeah.
Well, turn it to the Andy Griffith Show or something that's funny and uplifting. Instead of these news stories, it's the end of the world and all of these bad things. These bad things may everyone happen. But there is nothing you can do about it. There is nothing you can do to prepare for it. So why worry about it? The odds are none of them will happen.
Gary, I got to tell our friends what he's talking about. Now, he did it in a real good way with the friends. Now, years ago, I was worried over business. I was worried over all these things, and I brought all my problems to Gary, and he looked at me and said, son, there's only two things you can change, your attitude and your underwear, and I suggest you do both. So that was the advice he gave me, but the truth of the matter was, everything I was worried about, I had no control over.
It didn't happen.
None of it happened. No, when you said put it into the 5-year plan, none of those things ever happened, nor could I remember them.
Remember when all the people constantly worried and sneaked around and dug bomb shelters during the Cold War? Some of you may remember that, right? Ooh, we got to make sure that we got a bomb shelter. Where can we go when we have this nuclear war that's going to happen? And I mean, this is 50 years ago I'm talking about. None of that ever happened. And all of that worry that those people went through, all the worry that they had, all the money they spent trying to get them a bomb shelter was wasted. When if they hadn't paid any attention to it, went on with their life, things would have been fine. How many of you have absolutely turned a deal down or didn't do something that off into the future or make a plan or go in business or do something, because of the uncertainty of the times, thinking that it's all going to crumble, well, guess what? The people that didn't do that, they now are in business and have all of those things. And the people that were afraid and worrying, they're still where they are. I've done it, but I don't do it anymore. I plan as though this world is going to go on forever. I plan as though that this market's going to do great, that everything's going to be fine. Number one, it feels better. And number two, if I'm right, it'll be wonderful. If I'm wrong, there's nothing I can do about it. Okay?
You make it sound so simple, but it's truly like life. We've got today. Today's all we got. If it ends tomorrow, there's nothing we can do about it, so we might as well enjoy today.
And understand that historically, if you look at history, everything has been fine. This country's doing great. Everything turns out good. But yet those that believed it was going to turn out good, they have prospered. And those that ran scared and worried have not. It's that simple.
Gary, is there a point of selling fear? I mean, is fear being sold so the ones that know the secret that you're talking about prosper, and the ones that buy into the fear, they never do anything?
That's right. So, my friends, don't be like my friend that was saying, I worry about everything. Anxiety is hard to control. You need to take an active role in your life, proactive, to say, I can't change it, therefore I am not going to think about it, and therefore I am not going to worry about it. I am going to assume, believe it or not, they say never assume anything, but this time you can. I'm going to assume everything will be great and wonderful, and I'm going to act accordingly. If you're wrong, the worst that'll happen is you'll then have to worry about it. But don't worry about it in advance. Don't waste your time. That's my lesson for the night, and it's all because my good friend was telling me about all of these worries, at the same time told me she'd been watching the program. And I said, okay, I'm going to remind my friends about this, how important it is to stop worrying and get on with your life. Be happy. Assume the good, and it will come. You weren't put on this earth to sit around worrying all the time about stuff you can't control. It's not what you were born for. You were born to be doing things, making things happen, getting the excitement going. That's what you were born for, is to be part of the action, because that's where you're happy. So if you're sitting around worrying about stuff, quit doing it. Get out there and make some action happen. Get some movement going in your life, period. And you'll be amazed at how much better you feel and how much happier you are. Please, my friend, if I can just get one of you, just one, to listen to what I'm saying and go do it, then this entire program is worth it. Okay? Because after all, I try to change people's lives one at a time. Too hard to try to do two. Okay? We're going to take a break and we're going to come right back.
What a great start to the program. I don't know about you, but I love that. In fact, the next time you have somebody that's preaching gloom and doom, tell them, because of Gary C. Johnson, you're too busy being happy to worry about it. Stay with us. Gary C. Johnson returns with Simply the Law right after this.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. I've plowed with a mule, worked on the assembly line, been a janitor, machine operator, even worked on a garbage truck. When I started practicing law, losing was not an option. So I developed my own system, a system that was so much like judo that I called it judo law. It works. I have the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky. Give me a call, pound hurt.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. I sure hope you caught that opening. Gary, I love the opening and I love the talk you just gave us, and it made me think of something. Do we overanalyze everything? I mean, do we just put too much in it? Because you just made everything so simple in that opening. You just said, don't worry about things that you can't change and spend your time being happy. I mean, that advice hit every one of us.
Well, we as people, humans, tend to overcomplicate everything. I learned early on when I first started practicing law that simplicity is the key to everything. You have to keep everything in life simple, to and including your life. Simply the Law radio program, Simply Life. Keep it simple. Get to the point. Don't complicate things in your life. Your tendency is, what about this, what about this, what about this, what about this? And none of it matters. Most of it doesn't matter. I sat down with a lawyer in Louisville the other day, and he had this case, and he was wanting me to give him some pointers on it. And he had all this stuff, and I mean, it was just, and I looked at it and I said, what is all of this? And he says, well, I've got to see this, I've got to do 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 this. And I finally asked him, I said, what's your case about?
Yes.
Who did something wrong? What is it about? And he told me, well, this truck rear-ended these people on the interstate. I said, what's all of this other stuff got to do with the fact that this truck rear-ended this guy on the interstate? He said, but they said the defense. I said, that's the defense. That's nothing to do with your case. They're trying to make rabbits for you to chase, and it looks to me like you're chasing them. So get rid of these rabbits. They don't mean a thing. Even if every one of them's the truth, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that that truck rear-ended your client on the interstate and hurt him.
You know,
that's your case.
The first time that you did that example to me, you said, Keith, look, they're saying this about the client. They're saying this about the client. And I was tore all to pieces. I was like, Gary, how are you going to overcome that? And you said, real simple. I stood up and said, your client ran over my client. Now there's the case. And after you said that, I thought, why are we talking about all this stuff when the case is the fact that this gentleman ran over the other gentleman?
That's right. And if they can get somebody, and it's the same way with life. I'm just using as an example in law. You can complicate your life terribly when you hesitate to just get to the point. Because getting to the point will get you closure. Without closure, nothing ever happens. It's like, again, with a lawsuit. You can be the finest lawyer in the universe. You can fight the battle. You can scream about the Constitution. You can scream about the law. You can scream about the facts. But if you don't get the case over with and get your client some money, you are not a very good lawyer. And I don't care how smart you are. The bottom line is, and it's the same way with life, there has to be closure. And if you've got a situation, my friends, in your life where that you don't have closure, then get some closure. And if you've got somebody complicating things in your life so bad you can't get closure, get rid of them.
I'm sitting over here laughing because one of the illustrations he gave me was on texting, because Gary will send me a text about maybe doing this program, and I'll say, oh, yes, I can do it, but I've got to do all this tomorrow. I've got to be here. I've got to be there. I should be through in time. And he will write back, a yes or no will do. But I overcomplicate things on the text, and you taught me the lesson that when I ask you a question, you write back yes, no, okay, no. You simplify it.
when I got that big long text from Keith about all that stuff, my text back to him was said, 3:30 okay?
So I wrote 2 paragraphs, and he put it all into 3:30 work, and that was all that needed to be said.
So try saying what you're going to say in just a few words. When I first started practicing law, there was a fellow by the name of Josh Carton out in Los Angeles. He was a pretty sharp fellow. He said, if you have a lawsuit, you need to be able to tell someone that doesn't know anything about it what the case is about and what you want to happen in 10 words.
Wow. Wow, that's challenging, isn't it? I mean, to be able to do that?
It can be done, but you've really got to think about it. You've got to think it through. And that's keeping it simple.
Yes.
And it can be done. I run into 15 or 20 most of the time, and he gave us examples. He showed us how, with different fact situations and cases, how you can do it. Just 10 words to convey what you're going to do. Same way with life. And the worrying, keep it simple. I've not got off to any law or anything so far this program because I was so distressed to see my friend with all of that anxiety, of all of the worrying that she was doing, and it was meaningless, and it was doing nothing but destroying her dash. The things that she's got on life, that little bit of time she's got in this world to enjoy it.
And Gary...
So I said, I'm going to talk to my friends about it.
And the sad part about that is every hour or every day that we waste doing that, we can't get it back. That's gone forever.
You can actually look at the life expectancy tables and figure out to the second how many seconds people are supposed to live on the average. And every one of those seconds is important to you. It's important how you feel. And you are entitled to feel good, not bad. You never, ever, my friends, lose sight of the fact that you are special. And if anyone is putting you down or making you feel you're not special right now, go look in the mirror and say, I wonder how many more they are out there like me. And you'll conclude, ain't none, and never will be. Don't lose sight of that. We should have gone to the computer, shouldn't we? Huh?
I was enjoying the
We've
conversation.
got a few minutes left. Let's take a next break, and then we'll come back. And I will promise you I'll go to the computer, folks.
You know, I got to tell you, if you take the advice that Gary's giving you, people are going to look at you kind of strange. They're going to be, why are you smiling? Why are you happy? Don't you know all the bad things going on? Don't worry about that. You'll feel better. Stay with us. Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law right after this break.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. Out of absolute necessity, which is the mother of all inventions, I developed a technique for handling cases for my clients. It was very much like judo, so I called it judo law. It works. My team and I, using this method, we have the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky, and no one has even come close to matching it. Today, my case is settled. I wonder why.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. You know, I ended that saying that people would look at you a little bit different if you took on this attitude that you're talking about. Gary, it's the truth. I mean, when I first started trying to practice everything that you were saying, they would say, you don't care? You mean you don't care about this? Why are you not upset? This person said this about you. Why are you not mad? And I kept telling them, you got to watch the Gary C. Johnson show or listen to the radio show, and you'll understand why I'm not mad.
Before we go to the computer, I want to share another incident that happened to me last week. A fellow called me. Actually, it's Freddie Oaks from up at 3 Mile. Hey, Fred, if you're watching.
Great guy.
And he said, Gary, I watched your show where you said how hard it is for waitresses to do their job and how we should truly appreciate when they're waiting on us, and the fact that they're doing all of that while we can just sit there and do nothing. And I gave a waitress a tip, and I told her that you can thank Gary C. Johnson for this because he is the one that told me I needed to make absolutely certain that I give a good tip, and because I watched his show. And she looked at him and she said, I watched that show too. And actually, believe it or not, I've gotten more tips since that show.
Good. Good. Now we've done some good.
So now we're changing some lives. We're doing something good.
You've always said if we touch one life, now we can say we're doing good.
So we know now we touched a little bit, we touched one life. So my friends, anytime anyone's doing something for you, especially your waitresses or waiters that are out there taking care of you while you're sitting there, if you can afford it, leave them a tip, because they get very little wages, and their tips are generally what they have to use to try to feed their family. And those people, they have responsibilities. Everyone out there working, just like you folks, have responsibilities to other people that you're trying to support and take care of. So we're all on this big rock together, right? We're always living here together. Therefore, we're going to be more and more conscious, my friends, of the people around us. What they're doing, it makes our life easier. All of the people that are out here working day in and day out so that we can get the stuff we need. When you see somebody stocking the shelves at the stores, at Food City or whatever, stop and thank them for being there stocking that shelf. Because guess what? If they weren't, you wouldn't have anything to get off of that shelf.
Gary, that's a great point. You know, I'm just sitting here thinking, what a luxury it is for you and your family to go out to dinner. I mean, that's a luxury. Mm-hmm. You're going out, you're sitting down, you're having a dinner, and this individual is running back and forth to make sure that you want for nothing. And they're working hard to earn that money. So I guess the thing is, if you don't tip, you need to try and tip. And if you do tip, tip a little extra this week.
If you can afford it.
If you can afford it.
It's like I always say about underinsurance, make sure you have it if you can afford it. And I guess the most point I'm trying to get across to my friends is be aware of all the wonderful people around you that are doing all of these things for us so that we can have our quality of life. What about the guy that hauls the gas into the service stations? What about the guy that makes sure those service station pumps work? What about the ladies or guys inside that are waiting on us to make sure the pumps are working? That's just one example. There's thousands of people out there in different jobs that are making it so that what about the person that cooks the stuff that's so good that they're sending those double quick things? You ever stop to think about how wonderful it is that that person is doing that?
God, I love those potato wedges.
Oh, man. I mean, honestly, I guess once you start having appreciation for others, you start having appreciation for you. What do they say? You can't love anyone until you love yourself first.
Yeah.
It's true. Get at peace with who you are, then it's easy to become at peace with everybody else out there. Now, there's a few people that are just mean, that are hardwired that way. Their computer isn't working properly. Don't let those few detract from the fact that just about everybody you'll ever meet is just trying to survive and have a life and take care of their family. And they're doing things to make it so that we can survive and take care of our family. We're going to take our last break, and then we're going to come back.
I tell you, it just makes you feel better listening to Gary talk. Stay with us. We'll round out the program when we come back. Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson.
Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. Lawyers are spending millions of dollars asking you to give them a call. What could I say to you to make you want to give me that call? Well, how about the fact that I'm the one that's developed the concept of judo law? How about the fact that using judo law, my team and I, we set the record for the largest verdict in the state of Kentucky, and no one's even come close to it. How's that for a reason to give us the call?
Welcome back into Simply the Law. I know this program is supposed to be somewhat about the law, but I got to tell you, I've enjoyed the whole program. And as you were talking, a gentleman came up to me in the parking lot. I meant to tell you this. And he said, please tell Gary, this was from a different program you did. I walked out the other night and I just stood and gazed at the stars and the moon. And he said, I spent 45 minutes doing it, and it was enough to wonder. And he said, that's because of Gary C. Johnson. I said, I'll tell him.
Take a minute to breathe, slowly, in and out, and concentrate on breathing. And you will be amazed how much better you feel. And if you'll do that just 2 or 3 times a day, and think about it. You get oxygen to your brain, and you feel better. It's those simple things that say, simple, simple. Everything's simple. And I want my friends to have simple happiness.
The best.
And that's if just one of you will, then you've made my day. And Keith's too.
Absolutely.
Let's go to computer. I want to give you just a little bit of nothing. There's the number if any of you want to call us. I've got some real nice offices down in Lexington now, and actually my main office is still in Pikeville, and it'll continue to be in Pikeville, but for all our friends that are in eastern Kentucky, in Lexington, that may get hurt, or if you have relatives that's moved there, we have a nice office in Lexington right off the interstate, Interstate Richmond, Winchester Road, and then it's right there, okay? In general, please make sure you have your underinsurance that protects you and your family. It's important that you do so. I'm going to back up here. There's our website, GaryCJohnson.com, if any of you need to find us. And actually, if you need us anymore, if you just want to dial pound hurt on your cell phone, you can reach us. I just wanted to go over that on the computer. I'm going to save till next week the stuff I had on there to talk to them about, because we didn't get around to it because I was talking about stuff that I thought was more important.
Hey, you're keeping it simple, even with the pound hurt, or you can just ask Siri, take me to Gary C. Johnson. She'll get you there. My friend, I enjoyed this program. I hope you did too. I mean, there's enough people that have real problems in the world, and what Gary is telling you, if you're not one of those people, make sure you're maximizing your happiness every minute of the day, and I hope you're going to take his advice. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. As always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week at the same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.